So before we actually get into the tasks and I give you a brief of the actual site, based on what you see here, what do you think this is? And Ron, feel free to comment as well.
What do I think it is?
Yeah, just based on what you can see without clicking into anything.
Looks like the Weather Channel.
Okay. Based on the photos?
Well, that particular photo,
Yeah.
I don't really have any initial thoughts, to be honest with you. I'm not even sure what that is.
That's
a drone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're trying to tell me that this is an insurance site,
yeah,
I wouldn't have guessed that.
You wouldn't get that. Okay, great.
Would you have guessed that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this would actually confuse me even more. I think it was more a computer site than anything else.
Well, I was thinking that would be more of a sci-fi type site.
Okay, based on the images. So the images to you are the most impactful.
Yeah.
Okay.
That almost looked like a
actually, the way
cartoon character.
The way that this is positioned on the page,
that takes away from it.
Takes away from it too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what the site is, what we've been doing at Key Media is over the last 3 years, since we launched insurance business, we have been studying where our 28,000 newsletter subscribers, how they've been reading and behaving in terms of some of the trends that we're starting to see in their reading behavior. And we're hoping and expect that really reflects some of the trends in the industry. One of the things that really has come out in the last year and a half has been the increase in interest in the specialty and niche area. Okay. A lot of the emerging and any articles that we put out within that space tend to get picked up a lot. So about a year and a half ago when we started to research and develop this site, we were looking to see what we can offer brokers that would, really bring what we traditionally right now consider the directory experience into a bit of the 21st century. How do we bring a consumer experience similar to searching on Google to the insurance broking world and have that immediacy and kind of, I guess, summarized and very to the point result within that specialty and niche space. So what we've built here is what we hope to be the new directory experience. It's a specialized search engine that is designed specifically for brokers, based on hundreds of interviews I've done with brokers. And it's basically behind it, we have a database of what we've collected over the last about 8 months is all of the specialty and niche markets that we can find that we've worked with in the past. It's all listed free for them, and it's free for brokers to use. And we are allowing an intuitive search process so that you are then able to pull up that product profile. So the series of tasks that we're going to be going through is going to be related to that.
Okay.
So yeah. Any questions before we start?
No.
Okay. So
if it's going to be free, actually, I do have. It's going to be free. How are you going to make any money out of it?
So we have revenue models that we're going to be testing once we launch. Some of them are around advertising, so some of these promoted posts. So although it's free for them to list everything, if you want to be at the top of the drone list, they can be at the top of the drone list. And then we're collecting, of course, a lot of not the individual data, but we're looking at the trends. So a lot of the large carriers are very interested also on emerging risks and emerging product development opportunities.
All right.
Yeah. So a lot of these are scenario based. So you already have signed up for an Insure membership, but I'd like you to sign in with the following details.
Okay.
Great. Any comments on that process? Is it what you expected?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah? Okay. So next, we will be performing a search. Again, scenario based. You have a client that's coming to look for coverage for their drone. In your own words, how would you search for that?
Well, my own words would be drone insurance.
Yeah. Great.
The creativity.
It's unbelievable. Drones. Here you go.
Right.
Unmanned drones, maximum coverage, $250,000. Unmanned aerial systems.
Any comments on the process on this page? Is it what you expected to see?
Pretty easy process. Oddly enough, I don't see Intact listed there, but that's.
What we have is everyone who's in the system right now. We've only converted or listed people that have given us or that have provided fact sheet or some sort of a brochure because we're using that to create a
Intact hasn't given you one?
They haven't given us one.
Really?
Yet.
Okay.
So we have about 1,300 completed profiles, but we know that the number is probably close to about 4,000 in terms of what's out there within what we're considering non-standard. So there is quite a lot, but it's a lot of those companies just haven't given us enough, and we don't want to put shell programs. So that's why Intact's not there.
Fair enough. Okay.
Is this, in terms of the information that's displayed, seeing this for the first time, and I'm not sure if you use directories, does it give you, just as the initial listing, what you would like to see before you click into it further?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are these links not available yet, or what's the A and F?
So those are the documents that we have available. So if you can click into one.
Okay.
Let's click into to the drones, the Zurich product, and this is what we're considering our product profile. So we have an editorial team that's going through and taking. That's why we need the fact sheets. So every company original fact sheet is looked at, and then we pull out the very key information. Excuse me. So that we can put this together.
You see that?
Yeah, my first inclination there is that open to all brokers? So if I'm going to search that site, because we don't have a contract with Zurich.
Mm-hmm. We are collecting also whether a market's contracted or not. But for you, is that something that's...
Well, I would look at it and go, I'm going to that site because I might get a quote.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a contract issue, then I may as well go to the next site.
Right, okay. So you'd like to see contracted or not or open on
open,
this? Yeah. Okay, great.
Open or limited to contract.
Yeah, because everybody else on here is an MGA.
Yes. We do have that data, so it's just a matter of displaying it in terms of...
It would make sense.
What's the has the pen mean?
So we have a couple wholesalers that don't have the pen, that don't have the underwriting ability in-house. So does that terminology not make sense to you? We've heard it quite a lot.
It actually doesn't make sense in terms of what this is.
Mm.
Certainly with Zurich, for example, has the pen. Okay, well, does that really mean anything to you versus Canture, where they're an MGA?
Mm-hmm.
And we just know that because we're brokers, right? So we know that they should have the pen. I think that's almost, to be honest with you, irrelevant information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there are. What we noticed over time.
There'll be some London brokers, some dealing with London brokers that don't have the pen.
There are very few, but there are some that we found.
So it does have some value in my mind.
Do you think you'd need to see that on this page, or it can be something that's on the next page? Because what we're hoping with this page is that we want you to give you enough information to determine whether do we need to click a little bit further and get to that product page.
Yeah, me personally, I don't see a need to have that on this page, to be honest with you.
I don't see it as an issue not to have it.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so we'll do one more search just to see how the kind of words that you tend to use. You have a potential client with a biomass facility or plant that they're putting in town. Any comments there?
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Just Now that I know what a biomass facility is, I'm typing renewable.
Yeah, I mean,
See, there was only 4 that came up there before, right?
yeah. Feel free to type in, things that you see, or maybe even client, situations that you're dealing with right now.
So would your intention with this product be to compete with the Canadian underwriter or Canadian insurance marketer?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah.
In terms of this, do you have any questions on how the search works? We're also putting together, before we launch, which is scheduled for the middle of October, an FAQ. But, is there anything that you, in the back of your mind are wondering about how the search works, how we get certain information?
No, but I would suggest to you that the easier you can make it on a keyword, the better it would be for us.
Yes.
Because the Canadian insurance marketer site I find extremely onerous. In terms of typing in the search words.
Yeah, you try 3 or 4 different words.
Yeah. So anything that I think you can tag to a specific industry that you're trying to have in the search engine would be better. So like renewable and biomass. Well, I would tell you that if a guy came in here looking for insurance, he wouldn't tell us that he has a biomass facility.
Right. Okay.
I would think you got a cancer.
Yeah, I actually thought it was going to be a medical clinic.
Right. Okay.
So,
I did too.
Anything that you can do to tag as many things as possible to that terminology, would certainly help us. Because the guy's going to walk in, he's going to say, "Well, I've got a cogeneration plant, or I've got a solar plant, I got a wind farm."
Yeah.
Okay. Now the underwriters might call it a biomass facility, but he won't, and certainly we won't. And we wouldn't use that descriptive to try and market the account either.
Right. Okay. One of the things, so we're doing it in a few ways, because we've noticed this exactly what you're suggesting with the Canadian underwriter, or the insurance marketer. It's very limiting. The silos that they, the boxes that they put things into. You have to get that keyword right if something is going to come up. So we do have a classification system working on the back end, where our editorial team, as they look at it, they look at the actual fact sheet. They're looking to tag it off whether it falls into this line of business, and these are all the keywords that would be associated. In addition to that, we're also searching the fact sheet. So and we're indexing those terms. So in the case of this one, the search algorithm is actually indexing every word on this page, because what we realize is there's human error in reading this stuff and actually categorizing it. So let's say that something like biogas or whatever it is, and hydro. If you were to type in biogas, it would come up. Do you think that then makes the search too broad, or even because it's picking up every word, not only on the classification level, but also on the actual documentation?
Well, yeah. Again, from the broker's perspective, the guy's not going to come through the front door saying, "I'm looking for biogas."
Right.
You're right.
Yeah. But we said, "Sure, we can do that." Sure. Tell us what the heck it is, first of all.
Yeah.
So, as far as trying to tag it, I'm a firm believer that trying to keep it simpler is probably better, particularly if you're trying to market this to us.
Yes.
Because we deal in very simplistic stuff in terms of, okay, let's find the information for this particular type of risk. Because stuff that walks, some of the stuff that walks in the door, we really don't know what it is, like a biomass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But solar generation farms, we know what that is because we have a lot of them around here.
Yeah.
So anything that you could do to simplify the search so that if we type in solar farm, it'll bring up stuff like this, I think it would be great.
But it also shows a little bit broader within.
Yeah, I would think that the tags for like biogas and stuff like that. I mean, that's something that might be in an extended search for information or something like that.
Yes, this would already be tagged. So if you were to put in some specifics, such as biogas, it would also show up renewable energy products below. But that would probably come up first because it's the most direct match in terms of keyword on the actual fact sheet. But it's helpful to understand, how you think as well.
Do you have a training module on that? For example, we're sitting there going, how should we tag that? Is there a link that we could go back and then say, here's our suggestion how to use this?
We can put that together. I mean, right now.
If I click on this, it takes me back to.
It's like back to the whole page.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you had something here and just said, either FAQs or.
Can I search by company?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or tips we're using.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have the FAQs and we can definitely add things like that. One of the things I want to make sure that we are getting this as user-friendly as possible, and we do have the tutorials in place if necessary. The way that the keyword search has been structured, it should be able to pick up the way that you would put it in. So even if you were to put in renewable energy, it will pick up everything from a broad sense, and then even if you get a little bit more granular, you'll be able to do that as well. But we can add that as an FAQ so that we explain that quite clearly.
Yeah. But to get to it, you have to do it at the front of the site. You can just have something that.
There's a search bar at the very top, but yes, the FAQs in terms of the help section is only available in the front, but we can make that available throughout the site.
Yeah. Be the WTF section.
Let's just see what you got for Farm Mutuals.
And let me know if there's if there are any companies that you know for sure are missing, because we will make sure that we have them in.
Okay, so you're missing Peel.
Okay. What do they specialize in?
They're Farm Mutual.
Farm Mutual. Are they contracted?
Yeah.
They're contracted and they really don't have any specialty covered.
Okay.
Other than.
Yeah.
You're missing Unica.
Yeah, Unica would be a big one.
Yeah, I think that we had that on the list. I'm not sure why they haven't made it in here, because I know that we had that on the original list. Okay. But I'll make sure that we.
And Dean's very tied into Unica, the broker council.
Yeah. So what we got?
You get the full list of companies if you want to just browse who we do have through providers if you're just curious. Yeah.
The CFC goes through they're a Lloyd's underwriter that goes through a bunch of the MGAs, right?
Yes. Do they, if you were to contact them directly as a broker, I've been trying to figure that out actually with them.
You have to get cover holder status.
You have to get cover holder status, okay.
Which we don't want.
Right. But there are some brokers that do have that.
Oh,
right?
sure,
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Because they were actually one that we had kind of starred because it was
It's not my dog. That's my dog.
Actually, if you can take a click on eWorld Canada. April, yeah. So you asked earlier, one of the, this would be one of our kind of advertising models as well, where they can, pay for a premium company profile with a little bit of a blurb and a logo. But as a broker, if you've never seen a company before, with the way that the product profiles are structured, is there anything else that you'd want to know about a company that you've never heard of before, but they have something that's obviously something of interest to you?
If it's required to have a contract with them.
Right, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm doing standalone snow removal now.
I saw that.
Anyways, I'm sure you have some more tests for me to do.
Yes. No, this
We
is
digress.
this is very
Yes.
valuable. This is very valuable. Okay, so we've done the sign of the company. That's fine.
Are we passing something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have a bit more of, I guess, a detailed search where you have a client. I know the word Ontario right now, but just he would be the fact that he's running an adventure travel business in BC. He's looking for $4 million in coverage for his snowmobile fleet. So if you, based on that scenario, perform a search and then identify a suitable product considering the criteria. Okay, so I know for sure we had this once before. If you enter the British Columbia, it's not picking up. So I'll get my technical guys to look at that. But if you removed it British Columbia, you can just press search. It comes up. Oh, still nothing. Oh my goodness.
Adventure travel.
Interesting enough, I had one of these come up. I don't see any snowmobiles.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. Can you just put in snowmobile and see what comes up? Okay. So before the search before this was snowmobile rental.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Here you go. Guided tour operators, hiking, canoeing, surfing, snowmobiling.
So in this particular scenario, any comments on, obviously we have an issue with the search in terms of what it's picking up, but is there anything else that you want to comment on in terms of how that worked and the information that's provided in terms of coverage? Is it, is it easy to spot?
Yep.
Well, your maximum limits are very good. That's perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so in this particular case, the client wants to proceed with an application for this product. Locate and download the application form.
So I need this one here and then this one here.
There you go.
Yeah. You don't actually have to download it.
I didn't know they did this. Wish I did. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So you're actually accessing their website directly off.
Yeah. So what we've done is we've collected all of their forms available either publicly or we directly approach these companies and they've sent it to us offline. We have an audit schedule every 3 months, so we have a research team behind this that's going to be updating because we know that keeping this up to date is going to be key. So they can either write into us and tell us, we have something new or here's a new application form, but even if they don't come to us, we have a research team going out to them and saying, this is what we have for you, is it right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty good.
Okay, so Therefore, we're not clicking right into their site in their forms section.
Yeah, no, they're not. We're not. So if you were to go to a web page, that is actually is a link directly to their site. And it's a direct link to that particular product page. So if you wanted to access their site, that would be the way to get to it.
So there would be in your training or your.
We can, yeah.
That would be good. I have a fear that it's every 3 months. So you're going down the road, now you've got an absolute form, or they don't do it anymore.
Yeah. There's going to be one. I mean, we're going to have to see how to. Where I'm hoping that we're able to actually harness the feedback of the crowd to be able to do that. So what I would like to do is add a feature so the broker, like if you know that you reached out to this Premier last week and you know that they don't do it, you could just let us flag this product so that we will be able to then go back to them and say, you know what,
do people actually do that?
In some, not in, I mean, we haven't been able to see that we work with this and put in this, but in a lot of sites they do. That feedback loop works really well with a lot of B2C sites, but it's a concept to be tested in B2B, so we'll have to see how that works. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. What I actually realized is some of these sites, some of these companies don't even keep their own websites up to date.
Oh no.
So, we actually based a lot of product listings on what they had listed. Then we call them to find out, and they say, oh, we don't do that anymore. We haven't done it for about 6 months. You put it on your website where your brokers go to with all the documentation required. It's such a waste of time for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a challenge, definitely. The last task is submit an inquiry. So you have a question that on this particular product, and you want to get in touch with that company. Great, we know how to actually do it. Yeah.
Very straightforward. Yeah.
Right. So that was basically the full list of tasks that we were going to run through. Any questions, comments on the site itself, on how you might use it? You guys probably.
Are you really going to have a sign-in on this?
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a sign. I'll show you where you'll be able to get to sign out. You'll be able to sign in just to see. You'll be able to get to this page. From the time you start to get into the product profiles, you'll be required to sign in. Because we want to be able to see, we want to be able to see who's accessing the site. The sign-in process is basically name and email.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to understand why.
Yeah. The reason is to be able to see how brokers are using, like what are they searching? Because over time, what we'd like to see is not necessarily personal or personal information, but the trends in what brokers specialize in what areas. Is it, does merit, are we seeing with some of the searches? Are you guys specializing in farm? And how can we then target some of the stuff that then shows up on your listing and improve the search in that way? So.
But if we're specializing in it and we never access the site, how do you know that we're specializing in it?
Well, you'd have to use the site.
You'd have to use the site.
That's the only way.
Unless we took a listing.
Yes.
Okay.
But that would be the only reason. That's the main reason to be able to see, and also when we, to get to the inquiry stage, to then have an underwriter connect with you, we need to make sure that we have an email on file, so that when we follow up with the underwriter on Premier's side, hey, Ron and Dean, have submitted this. We have to have a way for them to connect that with you. So you'll be able to get to a certain point without.
I just want to see what comes up here. Detox clinic.
Oh.
Replacing coverage on one right now.
Oh, are you? One of the things that.
So rehabilitation clinics and facilities.
Yeah, we're having an issue with it's a technical thing, but like where the phrasing, like whether they see whether the search is seeing the words individually or they're seeing them collectively. So detox will have results, clinic will have results, detox clinic, if it doesn't appear in our keywords on the fact sheets or even on the classification system, if we haven't actually termed it that exact term, it's not picking it up, but we're working on it. So that's an interesting example. Yeah. Interesting.
Is it?
Because we've had the reason I say that's interesting is that we have, it's called something else in the.
So if you put fertility clinic, then what would you do?
It would if it's not showing up anything with fertility, it probably won't show up anything with clinic either. But I'm surprised with fertility clinic because I've seen products with that. Oh, reproductive maybe.
Reproductive, yeah.
And I've seen the fact sheets themselves.
Content and storage.
Well, that's usually what.
Yeah, usually.
That's in storage for about 9 months, I think.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So yeah, that's basically the site. So we're looking to launch in the middle of October. We're right now testing with brokers like you, and also fine tuning some of the it's not picking up special characters.
You think that's what it is? Huh?
Yeah.
And again, in your training logical thing or something.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got the characters in here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that that's an error. I would consider that a technical error, not a user error. Like you shouldn't have to put in
No, exactly.
It should pick it up.
Yeah.
So that's a technical team people that need to fix that.
Yeah, it'd be a matter of just.
Yeah. They need to just accept it. Yesterday I was doing a test downtown with Brooke Hunter.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think she was using the quotation marks, and it's still the special characters. It just wasn't picking up the quotation marks, which is something that that should not affect. That's not a user error. That's a technical error. So that's the kind of stuff that we recently test.
So is this a trademark name now that everybody has heard about, knows about, or?
Yeah. We, because I mean it's not you're probably the sixth person externally, or sixth and seventh people externally to see the site. We haven't launched it publicly, and we're aiming for October 17th, the week of IDAO. Because
I kind of figured that would be.
So we're trademarking the name, and with that something we'll have, a pretty big branding splash, and we'll have to see it in insurance business, and yeah, we'll have a big push because one of the things that we are looking to do is really truly get every broker using it it's a free resource.
Yeah.
We just
so you're okay if we take a picture of you and put it on our Twitter account that you're here today?
Yeah.
That's really where I was going with this. Okay.
Like if you were to search for insure.com, we have a landing page up, because once we're starting, although it's you did want to if you were to go to it again. Because people will mention it to colleagues.
What are your hashtags so far?
Well, we haven't actually started on social media yet. So we have our account set up as Insure Canada. We haven't actually been tweeting yet. So no hashtags in use.
We'll just put it under Broker Advantage then.
But so if you were to say mention it to someone, it's fine, because what we're doing is we know that it's going to start to kind of trickle out there. So people can sign up for early membership, and as soon as we launch, everyone, you guys will probably be the first to know, like a couple of days before we launch. And you can try it out, see if the search is any better, and then it'll be pretty public.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Any further thoughts? The only other thing that I was hoping to get done was short 10-question
Sure.
post survey. Please let me know. Be as honest as you can. And honestly feedback and
able to complete tasks is concursive. Yeah, easy. What do you want me to do? Just put an X or?
I think you have to slide the scale.
Oh. Yeah, easy peasy. Yeah. Able to navigate through the site. Yeah, very clear. Overall feel and look of the site.
Yeah, maybe 75.
Yeah. Relevance of site content. We'll give you a 50 for now.
Yeah.
Passing score anyways, right?
I'll take it.
Overall ease of use, yeah, very clear. What's the site inviting? Meaning the home page that you started us on with the drone?
Yeah, I would say for you guys, you'd probably say no.
We'll give you a 50 again. So. For the naming and labeling of links clear. Yeah. It's up and running. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Any additional comments?
A good FAQ section.
Yeah.
One question for you with that is
and training module.
Yeah. Do you personally, when you take training module, do you prefer to read that or do you prefer videos? You know, like if we were to do, let's say, a 30-second video on a particular module where I would take you through the site, like this is where you do this.
I wouldn't watch it.
You wouldn't. You prefer. So you prefer like a Q&A type.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just quick tips.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you've got quick tips. You're doing this and.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put in some expansion of terms.
Yeah.
And then maybe the other comment would be customer lingo versus biomass.
So this is a biomass. Solar energy.
Is this going to you or to somebody else?
This was me.
Yeah, I just put customer lingo versus industry lingo for search.
And this is just, I'll go back in about a week when I finish all my testing and just, remind myself.
Should I put the example of biomass?
Yeah, sure. I'll know what you mean. I'll remember this meeting.
Next. There we go. We're done.
Well, thank you so much. This was
thank you.
It was a bit of fun.
Well, I was going to suggest you put fun in here.
Yeah. I mean, so I expect, all things point to an October 17th launch.
Mm-hmm.
So we will definitely let you know. If you think of anything else in terms of feedback,
it doesn't need much work. It just needs a little fine tuning.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot easier than the other one.
Oh,
the insurance part.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. We're looking for phase 2, just so you know. I think that one of the biggest frustrations that I've heard from brokers in the research for this was that especially the specialty and niche, it seems to be very paper heavy. Like very few things are done electronically. So although we're hoping to take people to the point where they could at least get all the forms and all the documentation in one place, what we're hoping to do is we're looking to partner.
Any of the specialty stuff seems to all require paper.
Yeah.
Which we're a paperless office for the most part, but anything to do with specialty or farm, we still have to print it, fill it out, scan it, and then email it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the frustrating part is that they'll actually email us electronic documents.
Right, of course. Right. So we're hoping that what we're looking to do is in the Q1, Q2 of next year is be able to actually partner. We have a couple of technology partners that we're working with to see if we can actually convert all of those forms to electronic versions. So that we would, when you press, you'd be able to actually submit the form through the site, and then you'd be able to contact and work with the underwriter offline. But at least you'd be able to save that printing offline, filling it out, faxing it, or emailing it in. So that's kind of the next phase, but we need to see how is the market reacting, are brokers really using it, and then go from there. But we do have a huge repository of forms, so it's just like that's kind of where we're going, the direction.
If you were doing that and you hit the send button, and correct me if I'm off base, but it'd be almost better to have the send automatically email back to you.
Yes.
Your own form.
Yes.
So you can populate your system rather than going, okay, now I've sent this. Oh shit, I didn't.
Yeah. No, we would have to. I think that has come up quite a lot with exposure. Keeping records. We would have to make sure that you have a copy, they have a copy, they confirm the copy.
Well, you're signing in with your email address, so you should be able to
absolutely
send a copy to the broker as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons we also want to be able to require sign-ins, is so that we can start to track that like a little later on. Some of these phases later on, we'd like to really increase the efficiency of the process, but we need to be able to create an end-to-end experience, and the only way to track that is through an email or a sign-in. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Very good. I hope you let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to keep you posted.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry Greg couldn't be here.
No.
He's on vacation.
No, this is much better.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Do you guys read insurance business? Like, is that or just one of the sources that you use?
Yeah.
No. We get the magazine. I get the emails every day too.
Yeah. That's good. Just stop sharing. Just recording. Got it.